everybody, and welcome to the UNIQUEFemme podcast. We have the honor of having Saidat here today. Thank you so much for joining us. And we have Louis, my partner, who's here as a guest, impromptu and always perfectly aligned, so we trust the timing. So thank you for being here too. I'm going to introduce Saidat for a second, but I'm not going to lie. I was excited and nervous because I just have so much respect for you. So I was like, I said it to Louis. I was like, babe, I'm nervous because it feels really aligned to be able to have this conversation with you. But I do look up to you so much, and I just want to share that. So thank you for making time to come today, because it does mean a lot to us in our community.
Thank you so much.
So Saidat is a nationally recognized motivational entertainer, educator, children's performer, advocate, heart-led leader. She's inspired over 3 million students across Canada through the Saidat Show. For over 20 years, she has used music, movement, and powerful storytelling to promote kindness, inclusion, and youth empowerment. Her high energy assemblies and community work have made a lasting impact on schools and families and adults and our community. In recognition of her dedication to social change, you were named the 2025 YMCA Women of Excellence honoree. So congratulations, incredible. Her mission is simple but powerful: to bring joy and motion and help every child feel seen, heard, and valued.
That's right.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. And I almost want to start. Can I start with sharing a moment that you actually had an impact on me? And I've never shared this with you before. I think we've seen each other a few times, but they've been like quick, during events. So we haven't had a chance to really chat. But in 2021, my dance company, La Compagnie de Danse. So you guys know me as UNIQUEFemme. My community knows that I also own and direct the dance company, La Compagnie de Danse. And we created a concept video called Cold War. And it was like a movement concept video that was downtown. Kevin, one of our principal dancers, was kind of walking through downtown. And it was a song called Cold War by Cautious Clay. And if you know me, you know he's like my favorite artist. And when we posted it in 2021, you reposted it. And you were like, this was incredible.
Okay,
And it was... For us, it was such a big moment because I remember saying to my mom, I've made it. Saidat shared my music video. And even Ariel, she's one of my good friends, but still I have so much respect for her. So she had commented on the video as well, going like, oh my God, so proud of you. This is incredible. And I was like, movement is medicine. Movement is important. Art is important. It's how we tell our stories. It's our universal language. And so to get that feedback and that love back for me was confirmation that, wait, no, this is what I want to do. And
awesome.
It was so powerful in that moment. And when you reshared it, and that video for me was so important because, one, it brought like our community together. And it's like, we can be also professional movement storytellers in London. We don't have to go somewhere else to do it. We could bring that to London.
Yes.
So to have that respect back was just so incredible. And, I won't go deep into the story, but right after that music video, right after we shot it, I was actually in a car accident on the way home with my daughter. And, so for the music video to come out, a few weeks later, it was like also just a celebration of life. And that was, a long 2 years healing journey. But that moment in itself was just light that I think I needed at that time. So thank you, because it brought that to me.
But, I think as artists, when we begin respecting our craft and being able to share it with others, we never know where it's going to lead, right? And so I feel like the reason why I'm able to be that legacy of kindness and love is because someone saw my gift and shared it with someone else. And, that ripple effect, you have to keep that flowing. So, we're not a silo, right?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, it's so true. It is that ripple effect. And I think, we've even how we can all support each other's messages through movement, through art, through music, whatever it is so important. And that's where like our community comes in, because we get to share each other's art and each other's messages. And I think that you and I have been able to do that for each other as well. Yeah. But yeah, and I love that you said that. It's so true, because then, we then support somebody else and find their gifts. And actually that's what UNIQUEFemme really is. It's creating a life of impact by being heart-led, but also by honoring your unique gifts. And that's enough. That's literally all we have to do, because your gift is here to bring up, the collective frequency. It's here to help others, and that's why we have them. So
it's true.
I love that you said that. Thank you.
And there's a motivational speaker. Her name's Lisa. I think it's Lisa Nichols, but I'm not gonna don't quote me on that. But she says there is a space for everyone. We always feel like we're in competition with people, but the universe will make space for your gift.
Yes.
And if we keep that idea and realize that when we're meeting other artists or people even in that same field, it's not a competition. It's like, how are we going to find each other, and what are we going to do with that space, and how can we open that space for others to shine as well? It doesn't dim our light to share someone else's, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's the goal that every artist should have. Mm-hmm. When we become this person that just closes in and this is my gift and this is all and I should be the best, that's how we lose it. Mm-hmm. Really. Mm-hmm. And especially now with social media, like we're always going to find somebody that's a lot better than us, right? Like for sure, right? Yeah. So it's just like, be yourself, open that space, appreciate others, and you continue to shine. Mm-hmm. So
I love that. I love that. There's space for all of us. There really is. And like you said, when you're able to share your gifts, it always complements somebody else's gift. Like we get to just compliment each other and let that person inspire you too. I love like learning from other people, especially when they're not in the same craft too. Like you can learn so much from people within the dance community. But then like in music, and I love watching people create their art and how they do it, because it's so fascinating. And that's something that's so important, I think, in movement. And I honestly think for La Compagnie, that's what it represents. It's like storytelling through movement for us as dancers. Like we always had to look the same, your body type even had to be the same. Like I couldn't go to ballet school because, I'm Portuguese. I've got short legs. I've got a little thicker bottom. Like that wasn't ballet appropriate. Right. But it was like, no, like no one can tell you how to move your body. Your body knows. Everyone moves in such a unique way on purpose. And so when we get to tell our stories authentically by moving our bodies, like the way our bodies want to lead, I think that that's where the universal kind of language comes out. And I think it's like what you were saying about all the other forms of art. We all have our gifts and our own movement quality within our gifts.
I love that.
Yeah. I got a cool visual when you were talking about, sharing other people's lights, and then also sharing other people's stories, but through your own perspective. Yeah. In the sense of like having a mirror and redirecting the light towards whatever story is happening. But not only is that light going towards you, they're seeing where the light's coming from. So you're also receiving attention, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I like
it's kind of cool, hey?
I'm like, how do we add that into the expansion piece? We just performed a residency, and I was like, oh man, that would have been so good.
Good analogy.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Thank you.
I love that.
And so my question for you is, I have so many questions, but one question.
Bring it on. Let's go.
How did your journey start? Because I think a lot of us are told, I remember, my dad is from Portugal. So when he came to Canada, it was really important. And I love him. He's so supportive. So his understanding was like, if, go to school, get a good education. I was a teacher for 12 years. I was an educator. And then I ended in special ed, actually. And I loved it. But it was like, you do this, and the road is very specific in terms of how we create an impact. It's like teacher, doctor, these kind of things. And so to become a dance company owner wasn't really the route that he would have chosen. It is now. But for your life, how did this start for you? How did this journey of taking on this leadership role and becoming somebody who has such an incredible social impact? How did this start for you?
Started at age 14. I love kids. And so my pastor asked if I wanted to be a Sunday school teacher for the little ones, because no one wanted the little kids, because I grew up in Minneapolis, St. Paul, in Minnesota. And so Black churches, it's not an hour. You're going to be there all day long, right? So a Sunday school teacher knows they're teaching for at least 2 hours. So they were like, do you want to do this? I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to teach Sunday school. So I decided I was going to create like these theatrical stories of the Bible and bring in all type of I like spent my allowance, I guess, to like buy supplies and food for my class. And so our class became the loudest room in the church.
Love that.
So the deacons were coming to the door and saying, Saidat, you got to lower the volume in this classroom. It's exciting. And then the older students were trying to sneak into my class because they could hear that it was exciting. So I think I've always wanted to bring like this sense of awe and wonder to like important lessons. And so starting at 14, being able to do that, I think it led me to this mission of I want to reach kids. So at the end of high school, I got a scholarship to University of Minnesota. So my path was to finish university. I'm going to go into journalism because I thought I was going to be a newscaster. I want to be a news anchor person, and I'm going to work my way up to having my own talk show for kids. That was my vision. Okay. So I started university. It was overwhelming. I don't think I was like made for university. So like I had this scholarship, and then I failed a class, and they were like, well, now your scholarship's in jeopardy. You've got to make up for this. And I started getting really panicky. So then I tried my best to get through that year, and I did. But I thought, I don't think university's for me. So I saw this, there was this Bible school that my mom had always told me she wanted me to go to. She's like, I see you as a pastor. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be a journalist and I'm going to have a talk show for kids. And so after I started realizing that university probably wasn't for me, maybe I should go to Bible school. So I moved to Oklahoma and I went to Bible school to become a youth pastor. So I graduated from Bible school with now a new mission. I'm going to be a youth pastor, and I'm going to have like thousands of kids coming to me and, wanting to live for God and all this stuff. And so I was really excited about that. But in that time, I've kind of found my groove of I want to create stories just similar to what I did as a high schooler, but I also wanted to bring that to like the community. So I started working as a youth pastor. I married a Canadian, so that's how I moved to Canada. Okay. And we were youth pastors in Woodstock. Okay. And so I started this thing with our church called Sidewalk Sunday School. So this was like weekdays where we would travel throughout the community of Woodstock, and we had this milk truck that would let onto a stage, and we do all these like songs and games with the kids and then give them Bible lessons, right? I love this so much that I amplified it. So everything was like, Saidat's coming to this part of town. You got to be there. She's rapping the Bible, And so I really loved that. And I felt like that. Okay, I found what I really want to do. So it's in the church. But then I knew that really wasn't it either. So over time, like I was married. My husband died in an accident. And then I started realizing that I wanted to do something different, right? I was in the church. I'm doing these things for kids that are already coming to a place where they're learning these lessons. So I felt like there's something more to it, though. I don't just want to talk to kids who are, in the church. I want to do more. So was it 2004? 21 years ago.
Wow.
I said, I have an idea. I want to go into schools. And so Leroy Hibbert also works with Luso.
Yep.
He's like, well, I'm in the school system. What do you think you want to do? I say, I want to have classroom discussions about, pursuing your dreams. So he led me to Thames Valley. Thames Valley said, okay, we want to see what this looks like. Well, can you imagine? I'm in their office bouncing around. Okay, this is a classroom discussion I'm saying it's going to be. But I'm singing, I'm dancing, and I'm bouncing around this meeting room, and they're like...
I love that.
This is not a workshop. This is an assembly. And I'm like, assembly? I don't think I want to do assemblies. Like, no, this is really good. Let's test it out. So we tested it out at the first school I did in London. I was so afraid to be in front of those kids. And so as soon as I got out there, it just felt like I was on that milk truck again, in the community. So I did the show. I didn't know what was going to happen next. And the school board called me like the next day and they said, we are inundated with calls to the board office. And they're telling us, I don't know who came to my kid's school, but my kid never talks about school. And they can't stop talking about this girl that talked about pursuing your dreams. And so it was like really cool start. Yeah. And I guess that's kind of where I found that mission of like, this is what I wanted to do, that talk show for kids that I had as a goal as a journalist became, I want to be a motivator and advocate in the educational space, right? So yeah, that's kind of how I started.
Wow, that's incredible. I think that's so incredible. And I think it shows like we always kind of wish for, I think this, like we wish for this or something better. Like it's like, this is my vision, but universe will take us into like these different routes that we could have never imagined. And that's, and now, I mean, so that was 21 years ago. And now, I mean, I know you probably wouldn't even know, but how many schools do you think you've gone into over your time? That's a load of
that is over for my 3 million. Christina, to let you know, she has the numbers. Well, I mean, I think we see it on average like 120 schools a year.
Wow.
But I mean, I didn't start that way. So let's go back 2004. Saidat, this show is so awesome. You're going to be so busy.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me more. 2
years later.
2 years.
2 years later, I was calling schools, back when you call schools. Hi, my name is Saidat. I have a show. Who? What? Now they don't even know what my name is. They don't know what I said. Not interested. Click, click, click. We did a lot of free shows. I'll just come to your school and we'll do this presentation and see what happens. We did a free show.
Wow.
We did a free show.
So I bet nothing happened.
It was like, great, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like a process. And of course, like in the educational space, as you would know, there's a lot of structure. So when you come in with what I call organized chaos, you're kind of disrupting the system.
Yeah.
So I come in and I'm being loud, and at that time I'm still learning. So it's like, the hip hop girl is here. It's too loud in here. It's just chaotic. What did we learn today? I don't know. All she played is music and rapped and danced. But they didn't see the beauty or the value in the art. No. Like arts are important. Rap is important. Hip hop is important. Yeah. These kids, they will get a message if you're bringing it in and delivering it in a way that they understand.
Yes.
That's a side note, but they didn't understand me. Like I was just a new type of presenter. Most presenters, even to this day, are strictly speakers, right? And it's male dominated.
Yeah.
Right? So you get a woman in there, a black woman in there, a black queer woman in there talking about these things, and they're like, okay, but this is a different way of learning. We want the slideshow. We want you just to talk to the kids. No, we're going to start with a game, and then they're going to scream, and then we're going to... So it took a while to catch on, right? But I feel like, just like we talked about at the beginning of this, we have this space where people who are already in it or have the power to share your work with someone else can make a difference. Yeah. So Leroy Hibbert, Jennifer Slay were people that were able to advocate for me here. Harold Usher, who is a very prominent member of the community, invited me to be part of the Black History closing gala. Now, this was a prestigious part of the community, right? So every year it was like sold out. All the Macaulay brothers.
Oh yeah.
They were part of that. So people were coming to see these prestigious Black leaders. Cool. And he says, okay, I'm going to give you one slot. You can do one song. And so I did one song and people were like, oh, who is this? Right? But it took this talent to say, hey, let's shine that light on someone else. Yeah. So over the years, I began to see that, you know what, I need to branch out Sometimes as artists, when you get kind of stuck in this cycle and you realize you're not going anywhere, you have to kind of move forward. Where London, like St. Thomas, they became a very good start for me. But then it became a point where it was not my bread and butter.
I was going to ask that.
Right?
Sustainable.
Yeah. So it's kind of all right, well, I really want to stay here, but you kind of saturated yourself. And they're like, oh, we've already seen that. No, but you haven't seen this year's show.
Right.
So we started branching out to other places, and that's kind of where we got the popularity. So, yeah.
Wow, thank you for everything you're sharing. I have like so many questions and follow-ups. Wait, this is live. We're gonna go like this so that we can see.
Oh yeah, because I keep doing this.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just.
Are you all doing this too?
We have to see the talent.
Right.
So okay, first I want to go into your show because I feel like I specialize now in the nervous system. That's how after my car accident, I went into nervous system. Like I really went into how the nervous system works and how to heal our nervous system, things like that, because I needed it for I had a brain injury and needed it for my recovery. Yeah. And I was thinking of your show the other day, and this thought popped up maybe like a month ago. And I thought, wow, her shows are literally, when you go into the school system, I mean, they're everything. Like that's a beautiful way to change a child's life who hasn't felt seen or heard or respected. But you're literally hitting all 4 pillars of regulating their nervous systems, because there are 4 pillars, and, it's body, mind, spirituality, and community. And so when I see all the kids with you, I'm like, wow, these kids, like, community is such an important aspect. And for them, for like a little girl to see somebody so powerful using her voice, or, kids that are Black, or kids that are within the queer community, and haven't been seen or haven't felt safe to be seen yet. And to have that representation and to be within that energy and to feel love is so powerful. And that's community. And I always say, like, as I'll coach coaches, but I'm like, don't niche who you coach, niche your own community. Like, find people who will see you because they see themselves in you, and it's an important part of regulating your nervous system. And for kids, it's so important. Their bodies cannot feel safe without that, and therefore, like, self-actualization is just not possible if they don't have that sense of safety within their body.
True.
And so when they're with you, it's like they get that community and that love, and then they get like the body aspect where they get to shake it out and dance it out and sing. Like, that's vagus nerve. Like, that's them literally toning their vagus nerve and getting that energy out and clearing their meridian lines. And it's we always say art and music and dance, it's just that, but it's like, no, that's literally how we heal. That's how we share. That's how we come together. Yeah. It's the bridge. And so I see that in your workshops. And then there's also the mind aspect and the motivational part and what you're saying, the things that you're telling them and that they're receiving. And then spirituality is just trusting that you're exactly where you're meant to be, or connecting on a deeper level within yourself or your community, and that energetic. So every time I see everything you do, I'm like, it's so impactful, and it's changing them at a physical level. It's helping them that way. And so I just think it's so incredible. And I want to share, because I was like, wow, this is all 4 pillars in one spot. And I wanted to share.
I have a difficult time trying to explain what I do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So someone asks, like, so what do you do? Well, I'm an edutainer. Someone coined that, and I was like, oh, I like that. Educator, entertainer, yes. But it's more than that. Mm-hmm. It's like we walk into a school, we are transforming this space to be new and exciting for that moment. Yeah. We actually train 10 to 12 students to be part of the show.
Oh, cool.
Now, this evolved over time, where as a speaker, schools and kids, especially now with social media, everything's so fast paced and they want everything to be new, it's flashy and exciting. And you have them for an hour, you spend 20 minutes just trying to get their attention and gain their trust. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. this is going to be fun. Don't you see? There's a DJ. There's like beach balls. Do you not see?
Yeah, I'm too cool.
Right?
Until,
so you spend so much time just trying to get them involved. And now you have 40 minutes and you're like, oh, we could have had so much more fun. Yeah. So one year I said, what would happen if I add students to the show? And now they're just embedded in the show. And now their peers can see them.
So smart.
Automatically gives them permission.
It was an instant change. So we take this time. We have this group of students who walk in and the teachers never tell them what they're doing. They tell them, oh, you're going to be dancing. Tell a kid they're going to be dancing in front of all their peers. And they don't dance. No, they don't love it. And so, or they tell them you're going to be a cheerleader.
Oh boy.
I'm busy that day.
Yeah, I'm busy that day.
So they walk in like, I've been kind of voluntold, right? And we're like, okay, so we know that you're nervous, but you're going to be part of the show. We refer to you as the energy crew. That means you're bringing leadership skills and enthusiasm for learning. You were selected because you already exude these skills and right. kindness and traits. Oh, okay. So this is what we're going to do. The first show is going to be like Sesame Street. It's the K to 3. So I said there's a lot of like, yay, woo. I said the second show is like talk show, game show, dance party. So you're going to be like VIP. But every once in a while you participate. Okay. So now we pique their interest. And we give them like maybe 5 things to do in the show, but they have their own special seating. They have like cool sunglasses. Cool. They have the pom-poms. They get to make noise. They know exactly what's going to happen in the show. Do you know what happens? When their friends walk in, they see their peers, not me. And I watch them. How are they responding? Now it's a mirror. And they're reflecting what they want the audience to do. And now all the audience is vibing because their friends are. Yeah, that's so cool. It also has the opposite effect when we just never get them. So can you imagine the energy we have to pull when they're like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah, got you.
Or they were excited until the pressure came in. Sure. Their friends sitting there looking at them making faces or, So then so that's when we added the sunglasses.
So you can hide.
There's like a protective factor
you don't have to wear the glasses, but whenever your friends are you're starting to get to you can just go shade. Right? And so they're like, okay, good. And so it's been like, it's something like, I feel it's like leadership building. It's entertainment. But it's also, like you said, it's like healing as well. Oh, yeah. How do you explain that to a person who's never experienced a show? Right. And so I think that's something I'm still working on. Yeah. After 21 years, like, what do you do? Well, I'm not just a children's entertainer. I'm not just a singer. I'm not just a dancer. They're like, dude, are you a dancer? I'm like, actually, no, I'm not a dancer. I just happen to dance to get your attention and long enough to give you the message. Yeah. Yeah. So if I do something, you're like, oh my gosh, that was cool. Okay. And now I want you to choose kindness. Okay, cool. So it's like, it's something that I'm still working on to realize, like, I have a lot of power with what I do. Mm-hmm. I call myself a happiness infuser. I know that I'm bringing joy into that space. It's memorable. We make sure that what we're doing is something that they're never going to forget, and there's so many elements to the show. And there's even times where many of the kids will say, Saidat was cool, but it was the DJ that really got me. Ah, cool. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, we need one another. I can't deliver, I'm there for a reason, but I'm not there to heal all or be the whole thing, right? So what happened today? Well, maybe it was watching my friend be part of the show that gave me the courage that next time I'll volunteer for something. Absolutely. Maybe that's all they got. The other person was like, oh, she wore, like yesterday, I wore my jacket that had the progressive pride flag on it, but it was just like a big like strip of colors. You know how many kids came up to me? I didn't have to say anything about identity, but they're definitely like, where'd you get that jacket? Yeah. That's powerful. I see you. Yeah. Right? So it's like those things I think really make a difference. And I think that's the joy of what I love to bring. It's like, I'm bringing happiness, I'm bringing joy. Still need to figure out how to explain that.
Yeah.
I have an idea.
I'm working on it.
You're a happiness infuser / youth impact generator.
Ooh.
And you deliver keynote concerts.
Whoa.
So the keynote is in terms of like speaking and like lessons, life lessons, but musically it's a concert.
Huh. Sounds like a chat GPT.
Yeah. I can't coin the term keynote concerts. It's something that I recently stumbled across and I'm experimenting with.
Keynote concerts.
Oh yeah,
that's
you were
really
talking about that. Yeah, that's
It
right.
is.
Okay.
Guy usually does like an hour speech, does 3 songs, 3 interactive activities, and 3 stories.
Yeah.
And he's a keynote concert facilitator. He's like a speaker, quote unquote.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that.
Yeah. But you're impacting youth.
Yeah.
And like generating impact that's going to like ripple throughout time. So the youth impact generator, I thought was cool too.
Yeah, that is really cool.
ChatGPT,
You're watching things that I'm live here. I
need any clarification? Absolutely.
That's why I keep him around. He helps a lot in my business.
Thank you.
I love that.
Maybe, at least something.
And it's so true. I think that sometimes it is hard to put things into words because you can't. There's just like an energy sometimes that you can't put into words. I mean, you just kind of did, but it can be really hard to do. And I think I love how you said like everyone takes what they need from it, because I think that that's art. Is like it's gonna your perspective of, you know, even in our movement pieces, like it's gonna be different based on what you need to get from it that day. And if you see it again, you get to pull something different. And I think that that's so powerful. Oh, I love that so much. I just thought when you were talking about, you know, having those students kind of selected to be the VIP, which is like such a brilliant way of saying it to students. I just picture my daughter because, like, you know, Juliet, she has a big personality. She's a Taurus. So she's strong. She's very creative.
Did your daughter dance with Asante?
Yes.
Yes.
Asante. Did she dance with Asante? I danced with Asante, but we were at the Wortley Pride Festival.
Yes,
I think you were there, and we both jumped on stage with him that day.
Yes. Okay.
That's like awesome. Uncle Asante. Juliet loves you so much.
And their name is now Makme.
Makme.
Makme. Yes.
Makme.
Yeah,
that's right.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, my daughter's so lucky. Juliet's so lucky because she has such powerful leaders that just love and surround her. And that's why she connects so well with adults. Kids, I actually find sometimes she doesn't connect with them as much because she's just like so authentically herself. And I don't think all kids are necessarily used to that. But she has such strong, powerful, impactful leaders that are around her, like Asante, like Ariel and you and like Alicia and all my whole dance crew, and she's just so lucky and loved. But when you were mentioning like that VIP experience, I was like, that moment would definitely change a child's life, because if Juliet experienced that, I know for her that would change her life, because there's just something about that recognition, being part of something bigger, being part of like that message, and I know that for her that would like mean the world. So I could just imagine how many kids have experienced that shift in their own life based on that workshop and being given that opportunity to be that VIP student. And even if they weren't, but I mean, I know for Juliet that would be huge. So from a mother's perspective. And I know, so this is kind of going off to another topic, but something that I often talk about is like balancing our practice, or, you know, our mission with motherhood. And I know that you're a mom. And how has that been for you? And do you have any kind of tips on how to kind of navigate motherhood while also having this big mission that does require our energy and time?
Yeah. I think a lot of times, like, you know, mothers trying to juggle their career and their dreams along with the guilt of, are you spending enough time with your child? I think you have to take that like individually. Like each of your, like whatever, if you have one child or multiple children, they all need different things. So your job, your career may shift at times, right? So my kids are now adults. I have a 26-year-old and also a 23-year-old. So our 23-year-old has exceptionalities, is on the spectrum, also has an intellectual delay as well. So our child, Isaiah, will be with us for life, right? So I know that my life had to shift at times. I have always included my kids in my career. So I say that Isaiah was my number one fan, and he also was my number one critic.
Wow, I have one of those too.
and because
not you, should yet.
You just right over.
I got one too. So, but I feel that we have to not be afraid to make mistakes. We're as parents, we're also human beings learning and navigating life. And I feel like society always puts pressure on parents that if you weren't there for that basketball game, if you weren't there when they were crying that they needed you the most, you've ruined their life. No, it was not a pattern. If there's a pattern of being absent and not, there for your child consistently, then you really got to look that up and figure out what you're going to do about that. How are you going to change it? But if you make a plan with your families, like, this is my dream, but I also want to help you pursue yours. And if you're watching me navigate how to have a career and a dream, as well as balance a family, I'm going to inspire you to do the same. Because what we forget is sometimes we've watched our parents do things and then we go, I'm never going to do it that way. And I'm going to, okay. But then your kid is also going to do this. So it doesn't even matter if you stayed home and then your kids goes, well, my mom had a dream and I watched my mom stay home and never pursue her dreams. And she was so unhappy, although she was at home with kids, with the applause of all the other parents that say, you know what I mean? So there's really like no...
Yeah, it's subconscious behavior too. It becomes normal for them.
Yeah.
Without them thinking that they adopt the same things.
Yeah. So I feel like it's like you have to get your kids to join in if they want to. My daughter was cool with it at first, and then she was not cool. And she's just like, Mom, I know you're doing this, but I'm not going. I'm not going to pressure you to make myself look good. And I was judged for that. I was judged for, so your kids aren't here. Well, they hear about this all day long. When I'm at home, they're listening to my music. They're watching the videos with me. They've already participated. Why do I need to drag them everywhere I go? My son, Isaiah, we have our own time because he needs that with me. He needs more time than my daughter. But I made sure that they were both pursuing their own dreams. My daughter was in gymnastics. Although we were working, we were still at gymnastics. Did I miss some of her events? Yeah. But guess what? That's why you all have a beautiful community. Your daughter has a community of people who can be there when you cannot. So that's kind of how I feel. Like I feel like sometimes we're always looking for like that perfect advice for parenthood when there is none. There ain't no perfect advice, okay? But you do have to, you can learn from others, but you can also say, you know what? I'm going to make mistakes and that's going to be okay. But I'm also going to inspire my children and to be themselves because I'm being my authentic self, right?
Yeah, that's
so
powerful.
Pursue your dreams, bring your kids with you. When they don't like it, ask what's next. Find that community that can help you in those times where you feel like you're lacking. So that's my advice.
I love that. Pursue your dreams.
Or not advice.
Pursue your dreams and bring your kids with you. Like, let them watch you do it. I think that that's so powerful. I love how you said all that because there is so much pressure as parents or caregivers to be the perfect parent. And that isn't realistic. And that's putting so much pressure on ourselves, which I think in turn actually they end up feeling the pressure themselves too. And it's like, what if I just allowed myself to make mistakes and talk about them with my kids, you know? But I love the idea of like, follow your dreams and bring your kids with you. And because I've experienced the same, like some judgments of like, oh, you want to, like I said, you know, I want to take my show on tour one day. Like that's the dream. And they're like, well, what about your kids? I'm like, why can't they come? Why they love to watch me dance, and they love to watch us doing
like an ideal of bringing your children with you with Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see what happened. She brought Blue Ivy. Blue Ivy was so nervous, and you're like, why did she have her on the stage? And people were judging her, right? Like, why are you doing this? This is this. And look at her now. They're on tour again, and now who's next?
Yeah,
her little daughter.
So cute. I saw her right in front of the line.
She's the opposite energy of Blue Ivy. Was it Rumi? Is that? I
think I
can't remember her name. So sorry. Don't judge me on that one. Oh
my goodness! But we did see it. I saw it.
Her face. She's so happy to be on stage, but not like her mother. Yeah. She just wants to say hi, right? But her mother is allowing her. But is that also being with your child? Yes. Yeah. Is that bringing your child with you? Of course. Yes.
Yeah. And they're always going to say something.
Oh my goodness.
For sure.
And they're always going to say something.
Well, and I want to share actually the example of Juliet the other day at the show. We presented 3 storytelling through movement shows this past weekend. And Juliet, so the second show we had 2 really incredible artists that I'm close with, Eleanor and Imogen. And they were just singing. Not just singing, they were singing, but actually it was like they were warming up and just using their voice, and we were moving to their voice for one of the pieces. It was all freestyle. The third show, Eleanor couldn't be there, but Imogen could still be there, and she's actually Juliet's vocal coach. And Juliet was like, well, I could step in. And we were like, okay. So she did, and she completely freestyled, and I got to dance and move, and all of us, the whole cast, to her voice with Imogen. And it was
acapella, just voice.
It was incredible. And Louis got it on video because it was just so magical. And I was like, this is it. This is it. Your kids get to see you follow your dreams, and it gives them permission to do the same. It gives them permission to like honor themselves. And I felt like this, it was just such a beautiful moment. And actually before the show started, Louis, I asked him to, he was talking before we went on stage, and he was my MC amongst a bunch of other things. Thank you so much. And we thanked Juliet because I said, sometimes I say thank you for, letting the arts community borrow me, or like, thank you for letting them take time, because I know that sometimes it means that for, 3-4 days, I'm not necessarily as present. And I just thank her. I thank her for allowing me to follow my dreams. And I think it meant a lot to her that day. And I haven't always done that. And I'm not I've made lots of mistakes. But in that moment, it's like, okay, I think this time I got it right, And I think it's celebrating those little moments in motherhood is just celebrating.
That's beautiful to like show that appreciation. Thank you for helping me be the best version of myself. Yeah. Because sometimes we forget that our children are also helping us, become the person we should be. And
it's a sacrifice for them too.
Yeah.
And I know like they want me there, and sometimes we can't always be there. Sometimes we miss little things, but I think if we can tell them that we appreciate them and thank you for letting me do this, and I hope you know that you could always do it yourself, and I'll support you in your dreams. And she's got many, so it's he's laughing. There's cheerleading now, vocal, theater, all the things. But she likes to try. I think it's so important to let kids just try everything that they want to try, and then they'll just figure it out. And that's her.
She's gonna be a cheerleading, musician, politician, accountant.
Yes.
Do it all. Why not?
She's politician is like first in line now, and then I think it's theater. Cheerleading's moving its way up too now. Right now, it's very new. Maybe it's a month, maybe it's a year. Who knows? And okay, so maybe another question that I have is, because with being a public figure and such a well-known leader and having such a large following, I think that it's so beautiful and impactful, but there are also challenges that come with that, and a lot of pressure. And how do you navigate that? I'm like, what are your nervous system tools? Because that's a lot. And being on the road, and even going into the schools, I loved teaching. part of my special ed job that I loved was I got to be with students more one-on-one, because it can be a lot when you're in a classroom with a lot of kids. It's a lot of energy.
Sure.
But also just with being a public figure, there's going to be a lot of pressure and things that we maybe can't control. How do you navigate that?
Reiki.
Oh, I love that answer.
Yes.
As a Reiki practitioner.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Because I feel like I'm an empath. Mm-hmm. And so I go into the school and I feel like I'm absorbing a lot of like attitudes and energy. And, you know, for a very long time, I felt like it was my job to make sure everyone's happy. Mm-hmm. Everyone is approving of this. And you could see like the you know, like the disapproval of a teacher or a kid. And I would take it personally. Everything was personal. Can you imagine? Like, I can't believe I lived with that much energy, like that kind of like tension flowing through me at all times, trying to be myself at the same time, trying to please a whole audience. Yeah. I can't do that. And I can't take it personal if they didn't like it.
Yeah, that's not your job. Your job's to be you.
Right? Mm-hmm. But I did not, I took it as my responsibility all the time. Right. Well, then I was just getting tired all the time, burnt out all the time, discouraged. It was like, oh, I don't think I'm doing this right. It's not the right message for this year. No, it wasn't right for them. And it's okay. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the hardest part for me was to let that go. Like, it's okay to not have the approval of everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was such a hard thing for me, but Reiki really helped me kind of release that. And just to be able to ground myself and to go, okay, listen to your heart. What is your heart saying? When you created this show for this school year, did you do your very best? Yeah. Did you do your research? Do you feel like you gave your best? Well, then let it go. So I got to the point where when I'm in the schools now, I give my all to the school. You have my heart. You have my soul. Everything is there for you. But when I step off of this property, it's over.
It's done. Who did her thing?
Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like I was carrying everyone else's energy with me. So I get in the car, and if there were people that didn't like it and they were very vocal about it, we would talk about it all the way home. Yeah. And most of our work is at least 2 hours away. Yeah. Can you imagine talking about how these people didn't like the show? And did you see this over here for 2 hours?
Yeah, that's exhausting.
And I feel so sorry. My fiance, Christina, I love you so much. She puts up with so much. Like, I would, like you see over there? And then I just, like, on loop. Yeah. And over here, this happened. And did you see this? But I'm like, now I'm being fake. Mm-hmm. If I'm so upset all the time, and then I come in with this, hi, but I know you didn't like it, I'm gonna talk about it all. You know, that's not authentically me. Mm-hmm. It's just, I'm just trying to please. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to be me. I'm just trying to please. Well, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah. So, Lindsay, she is such an incredible person, practitioner, and she helped me to ground, be able to understand how to let go of, like, you know, expectations and things like that, and just be myself and then let it go. Sometimes I can still feel like the negativity, like the past couple of years have been very harsh for me, dealing with like pushback. And I think educational spaces are very challenging right now, whether it's political views, whether it's talking about identity. The teachers and the admin want to do one thing. The parents have an opposite type of idea of what's going on. So there's a lot of clashing. So you're feeling that in that space. So I had to learn to, sometimes when I get home, I gotta smudge, because I gotta release whatever is not here that's not serving me. And I feel like that's really grounded me. Taking a moment to do yoga when I get home really helps, because I have a high energy, so I can just keep spinning for hours, right? I have to intentionally tell myself to sit down, stop thinking. Yeah. I didn't know how to do that until yoga. Mm-hmm. I'm 50, I'm going to be 53 in June. And I just started learning how to calm my mind like maybe 3 years ago. So it's still like a journey where I'm like, I'm still like busy, always thinking about what people think.
Right.
People pleasing. Why do you feel like you have to be that? It's beautiful to want to help others, but when it's at my expense of my own well-being, then no one's being helped, right? So that's kind of like, I think that's my coping mechanism. And also knowing that I'm there for a reason, but I'm not their answer.
Right. Ooh,
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Wow. That's so powerful.
And I feel like sometimes as like motivational people, we feel like we have to be that person's all. When they meet me, all their problems are going to go away. Well, no, maybe all I needed to do was lift their spirit enough for them to seek out more help.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I'm the happiness infuser. I come in and I give you a party for an hour. Maybe you were so excited about school now, you can see all the other possibilities. And maybe I was able to help you see, the reason why I'm here. And I say that, the reason why I'm here today is because there's someone in the school who cares about you. So I'm not the healer here. Someone brought me in. That's why I'm here.
That's true.
Yeah, that's powerful.
So now you will, after I'm gone, and you said this was the best day ever, because we get a lot of the best day ever. And I say, I hope you have many more.
Yeah.
I don't need to be the all. Right? So now I feel like it's really helped me go into schools, be in my authentic self, as well as keeping my peace. Right? And times have been really hard for us the past couple of years, especially with queer identity and standing up for human rights. And people want to dictate what you stand up for and what you don't. And I feel like even with society has become very like contrast. You're either this or that.
Right.
And if you're saying something on this side, this means you are completely against the opposite side. There is no like collaboration. There's no debating. There's no actually listening to what people are saying. It's like, what are the buzzwords? I don't like you because you said something that I've heard that means that you hate me, or you don't want to be part of trying to figure how we can live together, how we can work together. Like this is the world that we're living in, and these kids are trying to navigate it.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you find sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you find that it's also a little bit conflicting because if you don't take a stand on a particular position or whatever, you're not even going to be recognized or taken seriously?
Yeah, that's...
You know what I'm saying?
There is such pressure, which I feel like is so sad. It's like what they say, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
And you're like, where do you stand on this issue? Well, I stand here. Nope, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. You should be doing this, this, and this. Okay. Well, then I'm not going to say nothing. Oh, really? Well, now...
You're adding fuel to the fire. Either way.
Now you're still no good. So it's kind of like, and there's that too. I think this has been also a test of, am I people pleasing? It's like, if I took my stand, this is my stand. I don't have to prove it to you. I know who I am.
Yeah.
And that's hard when people are trying to say, okay, we're going to cancel you.
Yeah.
Because this is where you stand, and you're not trying to speak for us. So we're going to cancel you for everybody.
Yeah.
But you still have to take your stand. Like, I don't have to please you.
Yeah.
Even though now you're compromising my money and my livelihood.
Yeah.
But I still have to take my stand.
And the opportunity for kids to be in your world and the impact that you're creating. And I think there's such a clear difference. Like, one of them is led by truth and love and authenticity, and another one is a control. It sounds like it's, it isn't led by love. Like, I think a question we could always ask ourselves, but it's so hard. It's like the decision that I'm taking right now, or, what I'm saying, or the decision I'm taking, whatever it is it being led by love, or is it being led by guilt or fear?
I think a lot of this is fear.
And
people are afraid. I think people are seeing the world, and they don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So they feel like they have to hold on to something in order to have some stability, right? Yeah. So let's just say we're talking about queer identity. Mm-hmm. I'm afraid that I don't understand how to work with my child if they tell me that they are trans. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to listen to all the misinformation and I'm going to take that because that's kind of what I understand. I understand the binary thinking. I don't understand non-binary thinking. Right. So I'm going to go, this is it, and this everyone else is wrong. Without discussing, without doing research, without really understanding that this may not even be your issue, mm-hmm. but you are compromising the livelihood and the well-being of many other people. So people are like kind of like that preservation, you know what I mean? Yeah. They're trying to hold on to what they know, but at the expense of everyone else being hurt. Yeah. But they don't realize that's what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And I feel like most people sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. But I feel like a lot of times, like when we're talking about schools, parents are coming in going, I want this to stop. I want you to stop raising a flag because like we can't do you're not talking about this religion, you're not talking about this, but now you got a flag. Mm-hmm. But what did the flag actually represent? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Unity, love for everyone.
Why do you see this flag as something that's going to threaten your family?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No more of this, only,
Right? And so I feel like those discussions aren't being had. It's just like yes or no. Yeah. And if we're not going to do it, now we've got a whole group of people that feel left out. Mm. But then what are you going to do with this? Like it's very frustrating, confusing, and I feel like will it get better? I don't know. Yeah. I really don't know. But we still have to care about what is the needs of our children. Mm-hmm. Apart from these issues, what are the needs? They need to feel a sense of belonging. Yeah. They need to feel like we care and that they have support. Yeah. And we also have to push back against the people that are going, no, we got to take away their rights for my own. Yeah. Well, sorry. Yeah. For my own. That's not how it works. Beliefs or fears. Right? Yeah, so
I think and that's where the importance, I think, as caregivers or parents, it's like having these conversations at home with our kids, safe conversations, and opening up this and saying like you're safe here, and this is what our values are, and letting them connect with others in the community, bringing them to our celebrations and saying like, look how beautiful this is. Like if it's led by love, that's it. That's it. It gets to be that simple, but it's not that simple because there's such different perspectives and fears that are coming through that's not allowing us to have these beautiful, open, loving conversations in the schools. It feels like they're being compromised.
Yeah, it's also a lot of systems in place that are designed to create fear.
Yes. Yeah. And and I had this conversation on the podcast with somebody else and he's wonderful. We were talking about divine masculine and feminine energy. We all have both. Some, identify as having more feminine energy, some identify as having more masculine, some are kind of in the middle. But we all flow back and forth. And he was saying, isn't the masculine feminine his words kind of like Donald Trump, because like we lead from fear because then it gets people kind of moving. And he was saying this like lovingly, like he was actually asking like, is this right? And I said, no, actually, because the divine masculine is creating safe structure for all. That's kind of the divine masculine is creating structures and systems that allows everyone to feel safe. And so I thought it was such an interesting thing because we've almost normalized this wounded masculine leadership of like, this is the way it is, and we're going to lead with fear. And I think a lot of people maybe have adopted that too, in a sense. And it's like, it's or it's this or that. And like you said, but I'm like, no, it's actually the beautiful structures that allow us all to feel seen and to have these really safe conversations. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that was really interesting because I think that we're talking about that energy of fear and how it's being led by these very big leaders, unfortunately, that we have in our world right now.
I would add, in terms of that element of fear, and then the specifically masculine leading from either a place of love and creating that safe space or not, can be a result from external pressures coming down on that man wanting to maybe create a space that's safe to get the results that they're trying to achieve, but that takes way too long. And so now I have to resort to ways that maybe I don't align with, but if I'm going to go extreme, if I pull out a gun and I'm like, yo, you got to do this now, you're going to do it now, versus me trying to build trust with you to then you eventually do it.
Exactly. Well, and I think that's a different, because that person isn't leading the decision, right? Masculine, like, leadership, it will, I mean, then they're like sitting in the fear, then you're not really given a choice in that sense. Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's you know, and I think it speaks to the importance of leaders having to have so many tools to support you know, ourselves, or for you to be able to, you know, support yourself. It sounds like you have such a like powerful team that's so supportive, and your partner, and then these tools that help support your energy and your nervous system. And
I think even as leaders, we have to understand where our hearts are.
Yeah.
So when we have like social justice issues, you have to sit down with yourself and go, where do I stand on this?
Yeah.
What don't I know?
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe I need to educate myself. And maybe if I'm not speaking on it, I know why I'm not speaking on it, because I don't know. So I'm going to study to make sure I can, you know, validate what I'm saying, and also say, okay, this is where I stand, and I'm not going to waver on this, right? Because sometimes when we're taking a stand, especially on social media, it's a lot of performative action.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? And so I said something so everyone can clap for me. It's like, if you're going to take a stand here, but what else can you do?
Yeah.
Are you going to get inside that community and try to help? Are you going to use your money to help with the situation? Or are you just going to throw stuff out online to make yourself look good? And that's where people also get in trouble, because they were just doing something to look good, and now they're getting called on it. And you may not have the strength to take it, right? Yeah. So now you're wavering, you don't know what to do because you weren't really secure in that that stand. Yeah. So that's kind of what I've learned. Even over the past few years, I've had pushback about my queer identity. I've had pushback on talking about Black Lives Matter. I've had pushback talking about genocide. I've had pushback talking about trans rights. Well, if I don't know why I'm standing on it, then I'm going to start pulling back when people give me the pressure. But if I'm staying, I said what I said, because I'm always saying what I said about various issues, then there's nothing I need to fear. Yes, sometimes your stand is going to cost you. I've found that out this year. It has cost me money. It's cost me school boards for saying I take a stand on human rights. But in the end, it wasn't performative for me.
Right.
It's like, when you ask me 5 years from now how you felt about this, I knew why I stood on this, and I'm not ashamed of it. Right? Yeah. And so I feel like if everyone can get that, and it's like, it's not about being against someone. It's like, what are you for? And I feel like that's kind of where the fear is right now. Everyone is against. It's like, no, let's bring it back. The reason why we have social justice is because we are standing for something. Yes. We want more kindness. We want more sustainability in communities. We want more love. We want more acceptance, more support for marginalized people. This is why we do it. So then when the other people are coming against you about what you stand for, you have more of a positive resolve than, I'm going to turn and fight you now. Oh, you don't agree with me? I'm going to fight you. No. I've had to become quiet about the the inbox messages that we received, like the questions from parents and school boards about what we're standing for has been really sad. But we're like, well, we know what we stand for, and this is where we are. Look at our track record.
Yeah.
And like it's been really hard for us, but we're starting to see that change. We're seeing the turn of, okay, she really believes what she says, and this is the results, and now we are going to be able to see that too. Absolutely. And now like kind of that, like the pressure of like, stop saying this, stop talking about this type of human rights is starting to take a turn. And it's like, oh, we see the beauty of her show. Yes, because it's always been there. And I feel like that's what we need to do with social justice. Who have you always been? Be that. If you need to change, then adjust. But don't try to just waver based on the popularity of the idea or the subject, right? So
that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Something that came through is like all of those. I mean, that's hard to receive those messages, but for all of those messages, there's so many more people per message that have benefited and like that have been saved by your message and have been seen, and it's so powerful. And I think that that's such a powerful message for all of us to reflect on, is like, instead of saying like, oh, I'm against this, what are you for? Like, that's just I think one of the most powerful statements is when you're sitting down and you're thinking of yourself as a leader, or, you know, even within your family, what are you for and who are you being? Like, who are you? What are you for? And lead from there. And if everyone could sit down and take some time to think about that, ask yourself that question and sit with it and really reflect on that. I mean, that's strengthening the community in such powerful ways. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that message. I feel like that's just the most beautiful way to end this, and an invitation, I think, for all of us to ask ourselves in this moment, like, what are you for and who are you being? So thank you so much. What an honor to have you here with us today, and just to share your wisdom. We're honestly just so grateful. And so where can we find you, and what's kind of next for you?
Well, in 2020 I had an idea to have a stage production like Sesame Street Live. And it was all set to go, and a week before the opening night, everything was shut down.
Right.
So I kind of went into a bit of sadness about it, and I put everything away, and I was like, I worked so hard on it. So thousands of dollars of costumes and props are in my storage room, and so I'm bringing it back. So that's what I'm doing. I'm bringing it back.
I'm like, do I know? Yes. I'm like, I feel like I know dancers that were maybe on that show, like Brandon and Sam.
18 dancers. Yep. Sam was a choreographer.
Wow. And Brandon Clark.
Yes, and Brandon.
He was just in my show, actually, in our residency. I think I remember that.
Yep.
That is exciting.
So we're bringing it back. So, So watch out.
That is amazing. That's a huge announcement. Thank you so much. And where can we find you on Instagram?
Instagram is the Saidat Show. On X, Saidat to Motivate. YouTube, Saidat.
Perfect.
Facebook, Saidat. Ask Christina. I don't know.
You just ask ChatGPT or ChatGPT, Saidat, and they will send you the whole list, I'm sure. Right. But thank you again so much, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, for including me.
Little coffee we had. Okay, thank you, everybody. We love you. Bye.